1, 2, 3, 4. Palapalooza, Palapalooza. We're talking to you. I'm Palapalooza.
You listen once and listen twice to what I say. Oh boy, you better treat me right, or I won't stay. 'Cause there's things about you that I like.
We are live with Roni Lee. Welcome, Roni Lee. Thank you so much for being here.
Man, I'm just here. Me and your puppy are right here.
And Fenders with Roni. So you just came back from LA. How was that?
Yeah, it was great.
And you've been playing Hollywood for a while, right?
Oh my gosh. I think the first time I
30 years?
well, that would be kind. The first time I ever played the whiskey, I think was in 1977. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what band was that with?
That was Venus and the Razor Blades.
Rip up my school books, tear down the dirty looks. This is Punkorama.
Venus and the Razor Blades. Yeah.
With the Runaways and Van Halen, and I also played the whiskey I did a whole run with Randy California and Spirit. Those guys,
Very cool.
And they were way older than me at the time.
Right.
But and my review in the LA Times was, she's got a lot of flair, but she should play with kids her own age.
You're like, dude, thanks. Thanks
You know what?
a lot.
Which was a
Appreciate it.
very kind review from the LA Times, because those guys could shred you in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
actually, they said some other little nicer things, but I like playing with people with more experience than me, and
Right.
I do hopefully the opposite now with me. Why I mentor lots of younger musicians, yeah.
including Jules Welton.
Jules
right?
Welton, that blonde bassist.
That
yes.
blonde bassist. Yeah, she's rocking out with you for San Diego shows, right?
Lots of San
Yeah.
Diego. She'll even fly out to do other. She's Ronnie. I love her because she's no fear. I'll do that.
Absolutely.
She, that kid that raises their hands in class first.
Yeah.
You thought they were a nerd, but they're not. They're just eager and they they want to do it. She's very mature in a lot of ways.
Right on, yeah. And she's rocking with Fair Play.
I'm not your equals, you beg and crawl.
And she's also filling in for The Rough.
She's learning my philosophy. Say yes first and
Yeah.
regret it later.
There you go. And
But
just keep playing. I
just
think
keep
you said
playing.
on the first episode. That's great advice.
You never know. I have had some great experiences. I didn't get to tell you this one the first time.
Ooh, let's hear it.
I opened for Missing Persons, and they
Nice.
canceled the first couple shows, so they
Yeah.
truly were missing. And it's kind of a thing that Dale has some health issues, and I love her to death, and she's a great singer, and something happened, and so we ended up headlining that night, and when they didn't come, and then we rescheduled, and they showed up, and everything was great, and they played their 3 songs. We opened, they played their 3 songs, and Dale left the stage, sick.
Oh,
And
And when was this?
This was, it was at the Ramona Main Stage, probably, I'm going to say 5 years ago.
So
at
this
least.
was you solo.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Roni Lee group.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cool.
And so I went up, and the guys were just kind of noodling, going, we don't know what. I said, hey, I think I know the words to Walking in L.A. So I finished the night with them.
Nice.
And we did a whole bunch of stuff. Nobody wanted their money back, and we saved the day and had a great. I made a bunch of new friends.
Wow.
Those friends to this day.
Yeah.
Michael Masonette, the drummers, is one of my drummers that I use. So
Rad, very
and Michael
cool.
T. Ross, the keyboard player. So I use that as an example because somebody said to me on the way to that show, well, you're not going to make any money. Why are you going to go to that? You're going to go to the Ramona. You're going to go to that. All these people that do this because it's too much trouble.
Right.
It's too much trouble. And I said, because you just never know what experience you're going to have, who you're going to meet, what's going to happen. This is the music business. It's not like I'm going up there, to dig ditches. I mean, I'm
Right.
up there to have an experience. So
Right.
I pick my experiences, hopefully,
Yeah.
with some intelligent thought.
Right.
And sometimes I regret. I go, wow, that was that was a missed call.
How
But
can you ever tell though?
I mean,
until you've done it,
when someone called me and said, hey, want to come and do a Germany tour? That was in 2015, and I've done
Wow.
one every year since. So,
Wow.
and I was like, I don't know these guys. I don't know what I'm
Right.
getting into.
Right.
But I
You've
got a return ticket,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm good.
You've always seemed to be fearless. I recall
Yeah.
you talking about jumping in a van one of your first shows, right? And heading up to Washington.
Well, my first band my whole life. I told somebody on a trip to visit a family member in Sun Valley. Some guy was driving through town, and I was way underage. I was 16 years old. And when I first ran into this guy, and he goes, "I'm putting this all-girl band together in Seattle." I had never been to Seattle. Now it's a frequent stop of mine. In fact, I did my first record deal up there. But
Wow, awesome.
But this guy says, "Well, I'm going to call you some." This is before emails, by the way, people. Before emails, phones, texting, anything.
Right.
I don't even know how he found me. Would he write me a letter?
70s, right?
What
Early-
the hell?
yeah.
I don't even remember. So anyway, he somehow reaches me while I was living on the Oregon coast and in a foster home. Actually, we'll
Wow.
get into that some other day. But
Right.
and they were nice to me. It wasn't a cruel foster home. It was just alternate living styles.
Right.
And I've always been a bit rebellious, so I didn't always do the rules thing. And this guy goes, "You want to play in a band?" I go, "Yeah, I think I do." So I just left. I just put my cigarette out in the principal's window, and I go, "Yeah, this isn't for me." And
Really?
he came down in a van, in a Ford Econoline van, and
Wow.
I got in it. And I'm still alive to talk about it.
Crazy.
It actually was a band in Seattle. I mean, it could have been anything. That's the kind of stuff I used to
He
do.
was
I
like in
don't
his
recommend
30s
that.
kind of thing?
Yeah, to me, it looked like 90.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Old dude, scary dude.
The father in me is like,
oh.
red flag,
Oh, my
red flag.
gosh.
Lyric, please don't do this to me.
I
No.
think of my three kids, and I
Right.
tell my three, my oldest is 38 years old. He's going to be 39 in May 5th.
That's how old I am,
Even now, if they don't answer, they know this.
Right.
They don't answer my text within, I'm exaggerating when I say 20 minutes, just not to sound crazy.
Yeah.
They
Call the
know.
cops.
They know the cops, hospitals. The news is on. Definitely, if there are any. My oldest son rides a motorcycle, so I'm looking at.
That's scary.
They do not mess
Yeah.
with me and getting back to me. They know that.
Right on.
So I can't imagine. But
Right.
good thing, And I hitchhiked to LA from Oregon one time by myself. I just did some. People say, what was it like different? I said, well, there was just no rules protecting, kids in a way. And we
Right.
were it was a very wild time. It was like the
Right.
Wild West. It truly
Yeah.
was the Wild West.
Yeah.
You know?
You had it in your blood, too, I want to say,
I
At a
did.
young age, 17, you were just, let's do this.
And I didn't have any weird motives. Like I wasn't into drugs. I did some drugs, but I wasn't into drugs,
Right.
which I think there's a difference. I don't know. I
Totally.
don't want to be weird about that, but I wasn't a druggie.
Right.
I did them recreationally here and there, but I really wanted to play guitar in a rock band. And
Right.
it just wasn't heard of back then. Girls didn't do it. So even though I was from Los Angeles and I was born there and my roots were there, due to some weird family situations with me not having parents anymore, I ended up in Oregon. So especially there, it was really reclusive, and I ended up in a really religious household too. On top of it, not again, it wasn't like a Carrie situation or anything, but
Yeah.
I just wasn't allowed to listen to music or go bowling or to dance or anything
Interesting.
like that.
Like
Yeah.
like Footloose.
It was
The
really
Footloose town.
I
No.
really did live in. Yes. Wow. Yeah. I never made that
A little
connection,
bit?
but it was
No dancing it out.
No dancing. Let's dance. No, they had dances. I just couldn't go.
You just couldn't go. I see.
Yeah,
So more of
I-
a strict. Was that your household? Or?
My household, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
a little more religious.
I was raised by
and
my
strict and-
grandparents. They just
grandparents, okay.
super kind people, by the way, very kind people. They
Yeah.
just had, and I didn't know any different. So I was like, I didn't. You don't know when you don't know what's out there. You don't know. But then I discovered this album, Grand Funk Railroad.
Okay.
Somebody brought it over. I went to a school party, and then I discovered Black Sabbath,
Yes.
and then the Rolling Stones.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm like,
That was it.
the Martian hop just isn't cutting it for me anymore. Because they were really great in supporting my love of wanting to play an instrument. Every
Right.
instrument I wanted, my grandfather would go buy it. I
Very
had a
cool.
drum set. I drove everybody crazy. I had a keyboard.
Right on.
I was a drummer in my first band, and I was
wow.
just flop, just
Yeah.
everything. Once I grabbed the guitar, I knew that the guitar. Plus, I was listening to guitar solos, and that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be Joan Baez.
Right.
And I didn't want to be Carole King. I wanted to be,
a shredder.
I wanted
and
to
you
be
are
a shredder.
Dude. I've been listening to you. Yeah.
I'm
you
like,
shred,
I want
for
to
sure.
play like that.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
I want to play in a band with those guys.
Your resume is intimidating. It's, I usually have local bands on here, and I'll listen to them and research them, and it's like a few years of stuff going on for them.
You go back 8 months in the music industry.
So much going on with you. How do we fit in like 30, 40 years in a 30-minute segment? It's tough.
I don't know. I'm actually writing a book right now. Yeah,
okay.
Only because I want to do it in as if I've lived 10 lives, and I think that's going to be more interesting because I can do the mom perspective. I have a business degree, so I went through that.
Cool.
I unfortunately have had a lot of addiction in of people in my life that mattered a lot. I lost a marriage partner to that addiction. My son was a very bad addict for a long time. Brought him back to life on the floor one day. He's okay now.
Oh, he is okay. Is he the 38-year-old?
He's a 38-year-old. He is recovered from that. And my parents were addicts. My mother was a heroin addict. So lots of that stuff involved too. I think music for me gave me lots of power over all that.
Yeah.
And especially the guitar, I just hang on to that thing like a third arm,
Yeah, that is your drug. I mean, that's a great message.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's not like my everything because people and spirituality, there's a lot of things that are, I think, more important than playing a guitar. But, it gives me that ability to kind of express those things, which we should all do to some degree in something, right?
Right.
So
No,
I've
absolutely.
been around a long time and done a lot of different things, but it's it can be kind of squished into. I started in the '70s, obviously, and I got a lot of really met a lot of interesting people,
Right.
And I think it goes back to my first stories. I've always taken that chance. I was raised without boundaries. And I was just talking to my friend Francesca Valle today because she runs a studio in town, and she said, "Did your upbringing influence who you are in a good way? Because a lot of bad things happened to me." And I said, "Yeah, I am a complete survivor, and I turn everything into, and I'm not afraid to jump into anything. I just don't. I ask forgiveness rather than what's that saying?" I don't ask permission, I ask forgiveness, basically. I just kind of do it first and ask questions later.
There you go.
You kind of have to be that person, I think, in the music industry. You can't, I run into a lot of people who are very, I don't know, I got to rehearse for 4 years for that, or I got to do this. I go, dude, just
be fearless, take some risk, no holds. Yeah.
I can see how that advice can go awry as well if you're not prepared. There's no question about that. So
I think we have to touch on the fact that Venus and the Razorblades was the first mixed gender punk rock band, correct?
Yes.
Which is very cool.
Kim Fowley was big on doing firsts. He wanted to be, it was more important to him to make a splash of to make a statement with who he was working with than almost the musicianship.
Right.
Half the people in our band had never stood on stage before, and the other half the people in our band were players. I was a guitar player by then. I think I mentioned before in our previous thing that I had gotten fired from that first band in Seattle, by the way, because when I got there, I realized I didn't really know how to play the guitar very well. I just really wanted to.
Fake it till you make it.
I did. I didn't, and I didn't make it. I remember the guy in the van actually pulls me aside and he goes, I don't think you're ever going to be able to play guitar. I think you should find something else to do.
Wow.
And I
really?
said, and I still
have you reached out to him lately?
His name's Keith. No, Keith, but should give me a call.
Yeah.
But
what's up, Keith?
What's up? Probably at the time he was right, but it never occurred to me to stop. So I went on and I worked in a show band in Nevada. Actually, somehow got a job in a show band, with the wig and the long dress and
like a tribute band almost thing.
Yeah, doing
covers.
Okay. I remember the most fun one we did was the disco version of the theme from Star Trek with no vocals.
Nice.
Waka waka, like pea soup.
Yeah.
And I had a flying V and a Marshall stack because I made a lot of money working there.
Flying V with the Marshall stack.
Oh yeah,
huh?
that's when I became friends with Rick Derringer, and we traded outfits because we were the same size, and that's when I heard about the gig in LA. So
cool.
now I was going full circle back to Los Angeles, but I was going back to Los Angeles. My biggest influence was Jeff Beck, and so I had learned his whole album blow by blow, like literally beginning to end. I'm just huge fan, just amazing.
You keep in touch with him? You ever see him around?
I don't keep
or?
in touch, but we definitely hung out back then. But if I saw him, a lot of times if I see people or we have a reason to get together, then we do, so
Right.
we don't braid each other's hair though. We're not that close. And I think he's living back in England as well.
Okay,
his house out there. But
sounds about right.
Same with Joan. Joan and I were very, very close, but she lives in New York, and you just don't. If she's out here, I go see her.
Did you tour with her?
No, I
Joan
didn't.
Jett?
We didn't.
Okay.
We played together.
You wrote the song for the Runaways,
wrote
correct?
The song.
Yeah.
I wrote the song for myself
For yourself.
originally, and then Joan wanted to do it, and they took it as their one of their mantras.
Awesome.
I want to be where the boys are, and
And that's the song you're going to play.
I wanna be where the boys are.
So they did that. They did a bunch of other songs of mine too, and Van Halen did a song too. So we were all kind of doing each other's music back then.
Yeah,
and,
covering
and
it.
it
That's
just so
cool.
happened that I Want to Be Where the Boys Are did well, went on an album, and it was on the movie, and
Right.
so it gave me some money basically.
Yeah. And we talked about the movie a little bit, the Runaways, I think it was called, right? With Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
Did you like
and,
it?
And Dakota Fanning. I loved it. It
You
was
loved it?
very, very true to form. It was from
was.
Cherie's perspective,
Right.
I believe, for the most
Right.
part. So it was kind of how she saw things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that Cherie experienced that I didn't see with them because the Runaways group were not a bunch of close girls that got together and formed a band. It wasn't like that. Either was Venus and the Razorblades. Both of these bands were put together by Kim Fowley.
Gotcha.
They were selected people. When they got to Cherie, in fact, they went down to the Sugar Shack in the Valley and just looked for somebody that could dance good and fit in the outfit. That's how
Wow.
Cherie got it.
Wow.
And she became a singer, and she loves to rock out, and she's a great person. I've played with her before. We've done
Gotcha.
shows together recently, and so it wasn't that. It's just that Kim had an idea in mind, and he built that idea with him and Joan.
And he was a manager, right?
He was their manager and producer. He was also that's producing.
He seemed to be all about like marketing and image and just putting together
Completely. In
good-looking
fact-
people
Yep.
to sell.
Yep. He
like a
had
making the band type thing, like
completely.
with
We were the Partridge
Rob
Family.
Perlman or
Yeah.
whoever he is,
If you
similar
fit
kind of thing.
If you fit the outfit, yeah,
Right.
he was
Interesting.
totally that. And
I guess it worked in some cases,
in
right?
some ways, yeah. He was, as you know, there was some controversy about him recently.
I
with
don't know.
his
Let's hear it.
escapades. Oh my gosh, yeah. Well,
You wanna
the
talk
bass
about that or
player,
no?
the bass player from the Runaways. It's out there, so I would. I mean, she basically said that he had raped her and had done all
wow.
these things, and of course this was posthumously. He's passed away in 2015.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So there was kind of two camps there, well, he's not here to defend
Right.
himself, and also it was the 70s. And I'll tell you right now,
Right.
a lot of stuff went on and does go on.
Right.
And this rock and roll seems to be the last bastion of inappropriate behavior.
Right.
And while and you've seen like The Dirt, that recent movie.
Yeah,
with-
I was going to ask you about that.
that's true. I mean, that stuff's true.
All that stuff's true,
all
yeah.
that stuff's true. All that stuff, the Rainbow, the Riot House, which used to be the Hyatt, which is something else now on Sunset Boulevard. Will Chamberlain would come around with limos and pick up women out of hotel lobbies and take them. I mean,
Really?
it all
A different
happened.
time. We're in the Me
Different
Too
time.
generation now, and
Now-
you can't quite get away with that kind of stuff.
Now it would be like
Prison time.
prison time, and which doesn't excuse the behavior, but at the same time, there was a lot of participants, and
Sure.
it's not like. It's just not a black and white thing. I'm not going to go on anybody's side with it all. Was Kim inappropriate sometimes? Yeah, he was inappropriate. His mouth was horrific.
Was it?
Yeah, I thought. In fact, in the way he spoke to people when we auditioned Vicky for the singer for Venus and the Razorblades, he greeted her at the door. We were in the one side of the rehearsal room. He goes, "Stop! Crawl on the floor like a dog to the stage on your belly. That's how you're going to get to this stage." And she did.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so she crawled. I mean, that's how he
Wow.
was. Yeah, you're and he
A
was.
narcissist, maybe a bit.
Oh,
and
he
sort of
was. But
misogynistic kind of dude.
Oh yeah, all those words that we didn't
All
know
those
existed
words.
at the time. What is that? A
Those words
massage?
that
I
have-
could you totally use
Yeah,
one.
exactly. I know, right?
But no, he Yeah, it was a rough time, but it was
Right.
also magical, you know. All these bands were beginning. I mean, I was there when the Motels formed.
Wow.
I saw their first performances.
Very cool.
I played with the Ramones. I played with
Wow.
all these phenomenal.
Who else have you played with that comes to mind? I mean, you mentioned Van Halen.
Yeah, Van
I
Halen.
could almost spend an hour on that.
Oh my
you
God,
played
so
the
could
Whiskey
I.
A Go-Go with Van Halen.
Yes, and not only did we
Holy
just play
shit.
there, we wrestled in the back. Me and Joan Jett and David Lee
Lee
Roth
Roth?
and
Eddie Van Halen?
and Eddie. Well, Eddie did the guitar. He was always
He
noodling.
always just seemed to be
constantly.
like
He
a
was
little more
another-
put together and professional. And David Lee Roth
The
is
rest,
obviously
the rest of
just
us were just shenanigans
Shenanigans.
all over, man. We put holes in the walls with our heels because we had heels like this. And
Yeah.
David Lee Roth, we all
12-inch
Oh yeah, yeah.
stilettos
Fred
kind of thing.
Slatton. Fred Slatton was a shoe store in LA that made everybody's shoes, and even back then they were $200, which now would be
Wow.
like 2,000.
Right.
So, but they were four to six. I was carrying people on my shoulders on these shoes. No wonder my back is killing me today. But and David Lee Roth we would wrestle. So we'd get on each other's shoulders up in the dressing room at the Whiskey, which if anyone's been there or wants to know, when you go backstage at the Whiskey's a 2-level bar. Basically, there's the stage level, then there's a balcony level, then you go upstairs from the balcony into the dressing room on the 3rd level. And there's these narrow little stairs that were built, well, when the Whiskey was built. Then,
Right.
you can't change that. You can change you can put some different walls in, but those
Right.
stairs have been those stairs since probably the 50s when it was built, or the 40s. So that's how they
Real
built things then.
narrow.
Real narrow, real steep. So he rolled me down them in a barrel one day.
in a barrel.
In the Whiskey barrel. There was a Whiskey barrel up there, and he shoved me in a barrel and rolled me down the stairs. And I'm
David Lee Roth did?
Yes, yes.
Holy
But
shit.
we were messing around upstairs,
rad.
putting our heels through the walls. The walls of the Whiskey A Go Go used to have every signature of every band that played there, and it was worth millions. I'm telling you. And I've asked them ever since, where are the original walls? And I said, don't tell me that this black paint is over the original walls, because I don't even want to know that.
Did they paint over them?
Nobody knows. And I said,
Why would they
I'm
do
wondering.
that?
Well, here's the thing: is they actually have restructured the dressing rooms. They're not like they were. So I'm hoping maybe they just walled over them. And no one seems to know that. And someday I'm going to find out the answer to that, because there's got to be some
Right.
because I'm telling you, every band that ever played the Whiskey, and there
That's
was some
rad.
phenomenal people, as
Yeah.
you know, Sid Vicious,
Yeah, oh my
Sex Pistols,
God.
all those guys all signed the walls. That's what we did.
Wow. Very
Now if you sign the wall, you get charged $100. They send you a bill for $100. Like, where's
Times
the
are
rock and roll
changing.
on that,
Times
baby?
are changing. Speaking of signing walls, I saw on your website, which is RoniLeeGroup.com.
Yes.
So check it out.
Thank you.
You signed a wall recently. Was it Apple Studios?
Abbey
Apple?
Road. Abbey Road.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Abbey Road.
Abbey
out
Road.
in Europe, and your daughter was there.
In
I saw.
London, yes.
In London.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reading that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do a news blog every month on the front of the website, just to kind of, and I usually do a little like inspirational thing on there too. Like,
Very cool.
I think this month was, if you want to go take a vacation where your favorite band's playing, because
Right.
how fun is that? You get to go and you see your buddies,
Totally.
somewhere in some far off land, or maybe it's just Nebraska, but wherever it is,
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it a vacation,
Make it worthwhile.
and make it worth your while.
Or what
So-
I want to do is tour and make it into a vacation for
Right.
my family,
Right.
possibly.
Well,
like
that's
go
what-
play a couple shows in Hawaii or something.
It's so funny because that's exactly what I do. Like last year,
know, it's so
I
cool.
toured in Germany, and then my daughter and my son met me at the end of the tour, the last few days, because they love to come for a little bit of it, but the whole thing is just too much,
Right.
Because we're playing every night, and it's just not family oriented.
Right.
It's,
I know, yeah.
But so they come for the last couple nights, and then we
Cool.
grab a car and we just head out. We just go wherever we want to go.
Very
They,
cool.
they have Hotel.com works everywhere in the world now.
Totally.
And so it's super easy and super fun, and I totally recommend it. Include music in your travels.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're in the States, right? Your children?
Yes, they're in San
Okay.
Diego.
So they
all,
are they?
Yeah,
Wow.
they were two of my three were born in San Diego. So
Wow,
I was married
very
to
cool.
Lou Finucci, who was the premier artist here in San Diego. He was a phenomenal accordionist, but great musician. He played Zaida. He played with Pavarotti. He played. He played with some probably all of Fred Benedetti, which is one of the premier.
Love him.
He did.
I took his class at Grossmont.
Oh yeah,
he's amazing.
My ex-husband now passed away. He passed away a year and a half ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Was probably one of the best musicians most talented musicians I ever met in my life.
Wow.
Along with talent sometimes comes some problems. So he had an
Right.
addiction issue that he didn't eventually got him. But as my son said at his funeral, you know, he did everything he was supposed to do. He filled the world with music, and he probably lived longer than he should have because of just everybody around him, you know, supporting him and keeping him going. But you know, it is what it is.
What was his name?
Lou Fanucchi.
Okay.
And
he's got some stuff online that I could play.
He's got stuff online. His
Okay.
accordion work. He's a classical musician. Is phenomenal. You wouldn't know it was the accordion. It just
A shredder on the accordion.
enthralls you.
Huh?
Yeah. He could play Zeppelin to Pavarotti to Paganini. He could play
is
anything.
rad.
It's crazy. Yeah. Great musician. But yeah, that comes. I don't know how we digressed to all that, but
Yeah, well, we're going all over.
I'm
the
a
place. And-
digression
Well,
person.
again, yeah, you've lived.
I've had a lot of coffee this morning. I hung out with
Have you?
Francesca.
Francesca, so she teaches, right?
Yeah,
Vocals.
she's a vocal teacher.
I went to her.
Oh, she's amazing.
Did she mention that? Did she put that together?
I don't think I mentioned that I was coming here
Okay.
because we were talking about. She's got a really fun project that she's doing, expanding her studio. I'm not going to let it out because I don't know if
Okay.
she wants me to. But
Over off Mission Gorge,
she's
right?
got. Yeah, that's
Okay.
where she is now.
That is such a small world.
She is phenomenal. There's a lot of talent, a lot of great people in this area.
Yeah,
I mean, as you
absolutely.
know, because you talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's kind of why I do this. Yeah, the scene's rad. There's a ton of talent, as there is in
Yeah.
every city, I would assume, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
do you
think
feel
that-
like San Diego really sticks out, or do you
well,
feel like there's talent everywhere?
You know, I feel like there's talent everywhere. I feel
Right.
like I do. I'll tell you what happens, and sometimes in towns is they go, "Oh, you shouldn't go out of the town because then you're not, supporting the town." I've lived here a long time, not from here, but I've lived here long enough to be. I feel like a local. I've been here since
Right.
1984.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
that
I
is
was
quite
4
a
years
while.
old.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm a San Diegan
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes. I was
Yeah.
born just a couple hours north of here.
Okay.
So, but I think that music should be expanded upon, and you should go do. You should. My saying is, act locally and think globally. So, or is it backwards than that? It doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
because the point is you want to do things, as a local musician, because you live somewhere. Apparently, I
Right.
do, and because I also have a place in Las Vegas, I'm there a lot, and I have a little place in Los Angeles that I rent a room from a friend because it's just easier than running around. Because I do a lot of stuff up there.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the music industry resides primarily
In LA,
for
right?
us on the West Coast in LA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there gigs there? No, not really. I don't play in LA a lot.
No.
No. My gigs are in out of state.
Yeah.
In some other place. And,
Yeah.
and so I tell musicians, you have to think about the world as the world, and there's just a lot out there. Don't just leave yourself here.
Right.
But having said that, embrace your local musicians and your local stuff because it's super important to have a family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's a venue locally that you're really into? I know you play Navajo Live.
Navajo
every once in a
Live, I
while.
love those guys. Well, that is a phoenix out of the dust. That little joint, I'll tell you.
Right?
And
Yeah.
largely due to Chris and he just doesn't give up. He's just insisting on creating a musical venue there
Right.
that celebrates both. Covers and original bands and bands that play both, like me. I
Yeah.
play both.
Yeah.
So he's done a great job there, and it's fast becoming, I think, a really local hotspot for that kind of music.
It is.
I mean, I love playing the Brick by Brick.
There you go.
I play Humphreys quite often backstage.
That's
That's
right.
fun.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places to play is Biggs Harley Davidson. I play Biggs all the time.
Biggs, okay.
They
Where's that?
that's up in San Marcos.
Okay.
There's a
Awesome.
number of venues. it isn't so much the venue; it's the people that run the venue. I play the San Diego Fair every year. I'll be there this year on the 29th of June.
Very cool.
And they've always, Camp Land. I mean, these people.
Do you play there?
I play. I just played there last weekend. It was awesome.
Really?
You're standing on this
cool.
huge stage, staring at the water. You got all these people from all over the place.
Yep.
It's just one of my favorite things. People come up and go, "Wow," and watching girls play music. It's some kind of.
What is this thing?
What is this
These
thing you
girls
call
with this-
girls playing? I don't understand.
Camp Land's
this.
rad. I mean, it's one of the only spots where you can camp on the beach, and then you still have the drinking that's legal, which everyone loves.
I know. I feel like I'm in Vegas.
I can't believe they haven't screwed that up yet. I mean, you have probably underage kids.
Don't even tell
and
anybody,
Driving the
'cause-
golf. I know. I'll take all this out, but
No, I'm just
we
kidding.
go there every summer
I know,
since I was a kid. It's very cool.
It's an awesome band. It's a really a misunderstood and unfortunately not highlighted enough because that
like a
stage
hidden
is
gem.
probably one of the best stages in
It's rad.
San Diego.
And it's real open.
And,
It opens right up to the bay.
and the sound guy. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's a great show.
We have to mention Play Like a Girl, your
Yes,
record label,
yes,
correct? Do you have to be a
yes.
girl to be on that?
It is an attitude, not a gender.
There you go. Okay.
Yes,
I like that.
That is our saying. Absolutely, you do not have to be a girl. In fact, I'm opposed to that whole idea.
Right.
Which is why I do it. It's very tongue in cheek, obviously.
Sure.
And
Stupid question, Troy.
No. But it's a good one because I probably would have said it myself because
Right.
people do ask me that, and I can understand that because most of the people I work with are, and it's really less of an actual record label than it is a mentor program,
Okay.
and I try to help people. I can put it out, I can distribute records and things like that, but it's really kind of meant to shake the tree a little bit,
Cool.
and to say that playing like a girl isn't a weak statement. Where it used to be, you throw like a girl, you run like a girl, you play like a girl,
Right.
And in fact,
Sarcastic almost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just fun, and
Totally.
some girls that still have a little bit of a chip, maybe they go. I had saw somebody
Right.
post the other day. Some guy, he took a picture of us playing, and he goes, and they play like girls, and he was like giving us a rah rah, and some girl came on. Well, what does that mean? And he got very defensive, and I appreciated where she was coming from. She was trying to defend us. He goes, well, they have merchandise that says "play like a girl" on it. And the poor guy was getting beat up. So I had
my
to defend him.
gosh.
I go, no, it's true. We celebrate playing like a girl. So
Yeah.
it's hard because it's a very sensitive time. That we live in.
It is sensitive, isn't it?
Super
Hypersensitive.
Hypersensitive. I think.
Do you feel like that's going to change eventually?
Oh my gosh, I hope it does.
I feel like it already has been.
I feel like here's what I think. It's like a pendulum. The pendulum had to
Right.
swing way over in order to bring some things to light.
Yeah.
But I hope that it swings back a little bit because it's getting a little. Wow, you can't make fun of yourself. You can't make fun of your friends. What is there?
Right. Yeah.
If you can't do that,
You can say anything you want on this podcast, though.
Thank you.
It's totally okay. Yeah. So, lastly, before we do a couple quick segments, I did want to mention Daddy's Home.
Daddy's home. My daddy's home to stay.
Daddy's Home was an amazing project. If you just type in Roni Lee, Daddy's Home, it'll come up. It's obviously based on the 50s song, but with a very, very, very dark twist to it.
Yeah, kind of somber and dark.
And I was approached by a producer, Mr. Tim Eaton, who's probably one of the best producers is one of the best I've ever worked with.
Heard of him.
And one of the best guys in LA. In fact, I'm going to be hanging out with him tomorrow. We did another project after that. But he said, I really want you to be involved in this project, and I want you to act in it. I want you to be the actress in it. It's a method acting part, and I want you to sing the song. But other than that, musically, you don't really have any involvement. It's a song I'm putting together. But I said, well, why do you want me? Because he knows me. We've been working together. Because I want you to bring your experience into this. Now, I don't have that exact experience of the video, but similar things and some stuff in my life that I felt I was able to bring to it. And I also wanted to show one of the important things about the video is I wanted people to understand that when people are abused, they often love their abuser. And I made him understand that too. I said, part of this is when we were rehearsing for the for the acting parts, and I was working with an acting coach that was helping me, not get actually hurt during the scenes and things. Because yes, it is kind of violent, and it's more in your head, I think. Even though there are some other parts too.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I said, you guys need to understand, because I was working with them too, that that we're not trying to get away from our abusers. Most of the time, we're trying to understand them and figure out what we're doing to cause it. And so that I wanted to bring that out. Hopefully, I did in the video a little bit. I think we did.
Yeah.
And I have been reached out by. I didn't really prepare myself for it, and we haven't really put it out there like it's going to be put out. Right now, it's up for its 8th film award, and we just submitted to the Hollywood Video Film Awards that are coming up in July 20th. So we've won many awards on it. It's more in the film video industry than the music industry. Right. But I'm getting ready to release the song as a single too, and I think that's coming out in September. But yeah, it was. It meant a lot. It was difficult to do it, but in the end, I was real proud of it. And I'm telling you, so many people have reached out that had almost that exact experience. I was stunned. I didn't think I meant it to be representative. And literally the day that we released it, when it was in December, some lady reached out to me through the website. Is the Daddy's Home. .com, I think it is. I can't remember.
It has its own website, huh?
It has its own website.
I think it was linked on your website as well.
It is linked on my website. Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
So, again, it's not specifically my project. But,
right.
And anyway, she had said, my daughter just had that happen to her last night, and we're trying to rescue her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had I mean, you of course know that it happens, but when people are actually talking to you about it and sharing their experience, wow, it changes your whole perspective on it.
Yeah.
So,
check it out. It's definitely, like you said, darker.
Yeah. And if you know we've been sharing it with organizations that have been using it. Battered women's shelters. There was the DA's office up in Seattle are using it for just as part of their training in domestic violence and in their, so if there's anything that you can use it for like that, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah. Kick them in the balls.
Yeah.
That's
Run
what I
away.
say.
Find somebody that you trust and talk to them and get out of that thing, because nobody deserves.
Absolutely.
That. Yeah.
My wife dealt with that when she was younger, a stepdad.
Really?
And
it's always somebody, like I said, it's always somebody you're, not always, it's quite often someone you're close to.
Right.
You feel like maybe if you behaved better that they will. It's such an emotional thing. It's not just like some stranger walks up and socks you in the nose.
Right.
it's a different situation.
Right.
Completely.
You love them.
Yeah.
But they're hurting you.
You love them.
And it's hard to do. I couldn't imagine. I haven't dealt with that personally.
I mean, and of course, if it was happening to your daughter, for instance, she grows up in that relationship. Can you imagine? I mean,
I'd kill him.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I've already thought about
my
that.
daughter knows that too. My kids too are like.
I'd happily do the prison time or just.
I mean,
I
don't look like I could do much damage, but
dude,
I could go crazy. Believe me. Like I said, I don't have a lot of rules.
Well, it's cool that you're bringing awareness to that, and it's good that that someone like yourself on a platform that you're on is doing something like that. I think even local bands could learn from that.
I think everybody should have something that they're doing. Music can be a really internal thing. You can just really love yourself all day long.
Right.
And I do have a song called "Love Myself Today."
I love myself today, not like yesterday. I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm gonna get my way.
But it's also about coming out of some damage and appreciating the day again. So.
Right.
I just don't think anybody should be on this planet after a while. I mean, when you kind of start to mature and not try to, do some good out there. It's kind of our responsibility, especially when you start having kids, as you know. All of a sudden you're like, I want to create good people that are going to, create other good people. And I think first part is parenting, really.
Right.
Make, parent a person that you're gonna leave a nice, a responsible person on this planet. And a lot of people don't parent their kids, to be honest. I mean, that's part of the problem.
Yes,
they just don't.
I see that often.
You're raising a whole lot of people that are, just don't feel a moral responsibility to another human being. That's too bad.
Yeah.
We wouldn't need Me Too if they were doing that.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, one person at a time and one parent at a time. Yeah, it's
just very grassroots. You can't legislate it. You can't say, hey, be nice. That's a law. Okay.
It starts at home. A lot of stuff starts at home. Absolutely.
It does.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. It's really great to have you back. You're such a cool person. And,
thank you.
I think when I think of you, I think of just a person that's really humble and kind, and you've done a lot, and you've been there, done that. I know people that have done maybe a tenth of what you've done, and they're probably 10 times more cocky.
Well, that goes along with it.
Mean? Like,
it's so funny. I just had an experience the other day at Camp Land, and some guy walked up and he goes, hey, I'm a professional musician, and let me tell you what I think your band should do. And I just stood there and I nodded.
Instantly hit him in the face.
I could have. I
crossed my mind.
Crossed my mind. He was at boot level, but sometimes you just let the ignorant just be that, and I said thank you. And it's funny, I have tank tops that say don't touch my knobs, and the reason that I have those is because somebody's invariably always coming up and wanting to help the little girl out on stage, and let me just adjust your amp and take a little high, and I go, don't. Tracy Smith has this show, Girls Talk, and she asked me one time a long time ago, what's the thing that bugs you the most? I go, when people come up and want to help me, because I'm and I know it's because it is because I don't wear this.
Do you really get that still?
Oh my gosh.
It seems like we're in a day and age where women and men are on an even playing field in everything. Is that still prevalent out there? Really?
It's the last bastion of male supremacy
with
out
the
there.
musicians and bands and stuff.
Really? There's still a very very strong boys club up there, especially in
more in LA?
Rock and roll. Yeah, probably more in LA, because there's the crowd, it's kind of like when you're let in. It's almost like they go have the meeting and they put the robe on and they decide that you can have this, and then I don't mean to be too snarky about it, but it is kind of like that. It'll never quite change, and in a way, it's a masculine thing. I mean, not that women can't have a masculine side. Like I said, when I'm playing guitar, I feel very powerful. I get it. And you see these four guys, up there, and they're just all, if they were doing what they were doing without guitars, you would think that they were having some sort of weird freaky love sex thing.
Or something.
Licking each other like, take away the instruments, and somebody needs to do a meme of that or something sometime, and that would be funny.
No, that's crossed my mind before.
You put guitars in their hands, and now it's okay to rub up against
macho.
Now it's macho
to be all sweaty on stage with one another.
And
that is so
hey
true,
baby,
dude.
You would never do that. You wouldn't walk up to a guy in a bar and do that, right?
Right.
Well, I don't know. I'm not going to be, maybe you would, but.
Yeah. Depending on who you are.
Okay, it's all right.
Yeah. We'll do a rapid fire segment, okay?
All right,
quick.
do it. I'm ready.
You're ready.
Okay.
I know. Beatles or Stones?
Oh, Stones.
Sex Pistols or Ramones?
Ramones.
Yes. Have you played with them?
Yes. So I have to say Ramones because I love those guys.
Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
That was a tough one last time. I think you asked me that before. I'm going to go with Nirvana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Eddie Vedder?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No,
okay.
It's funny. That decade escaped me because I was my having children.
Parenthood.
Yeah.
So you did take a break there for a while?
Oh, absolutely.
Like in the 90s?
Took a long break.
You did?
Yeah, 90s.
10 years off?
Thank God I took the 90s off. Wasn't
did.
that a perfect decade to take off? If you're going to pick
one. I'm a big 90s guy, though. I know. I always say I love the 90s.
Now
like the grunge and the STPs.
Yeah, I know.
But maybe not. Yeah.
We do What's Up now, so hey, does that make me 90s?
What is it?
What's Up?
What's Up? What
Four Non Blondes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I got one in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Representing.
What's a favorite guitar riff or solo of any band that comes to mind?
I love all of Eddie Van Halen stuff.
Right.
I
always say
I can't. I even love this. I love Eruption. I love the stuff that he did on Michael Jackson stuff.
Yeah.
He
did the solo and Beat It, right?
He did the solo and Beat It. That's actually one of my favorite guitar solos.
It's insane.
to have the creativity to go in on a Michael Jackson track and do that.
Right.
See, that's what people don't understand. It's got to start in your head.
Right.
So, and a really proficient guitarist can take what's in their head and put it in their hands, but it still has to start in your head.
Totally.
Got to be thinking of it. So that stuff was great. Now, of course, Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, Cause We Ended as Lovers was probably the best representation of a guitar singing a song that exists on the planet. If you never listen to anything else instrumental on a guitar, listen to "Cause We've Ended as Lovers" by Jeff Beck, because it will rock your world if you're a guitar player, even if you're not. It's just it's a love song. You know,
I'll insert that in post production now.
Even just like
the middle of it, or
just the beginning, man. That whole the way he starts it.
Plays with his fingers, right?
Plays with his fingers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No picks.
Crazy.
He has one guitar pedal. He has a wah.
He has a wah, and
that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I'd love to hear that.
He's got his amp is rigged up a little bit, and I'm sure he's got some secrets he doesn't tell anybody.
Right. Yeah.
But that guy can play a piece of wood in a twig.
I still see him on stage every once in a while, current stuff, and just shredding, right?
Yeah, he plays whenever
he's
he
still
just
active.
Fucking feels like it, you know.
And everyone watches.
And then when he's done, he leaves. You know, it's like halfway through. I saw him at a Rod Stewart tour, and three shows in, he's just like, I don't want to do anymore. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye,
Rockstar.
Jeff. We'll see you next time.
Rockstar's all hell.
Yeah.
What's one album on an island? If you were to take one album on loop.
Gosh, am I a broken record? I probably would take Blow by Blow because it has a lot of fun, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't get tired of it.
There you go.
You know, like I love Boston and all that, but I think after a while I'd just be like, stop the music. You know, I think I would take an instrumental album, and I think I would probably take Wired or Blow by Blow, one of Beck's albums.
How about a movie on an island? Let's switch gears. What
My Cousin Vinny, without a freaking doubt. Hello, two Utes.
Two Utes. We nailed it. Two Utes.
What's a Ute?
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
That is a great one, dude.
I could just have that playing in the background all my life.
My Cousin Vinny.
I just love that
Who's
movie.
the
Marissa
female?
Tomei.
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh, my biological clock is. Yeah,
Yes,
she's
those
her.
are the lines
Oh
I
yeah,
think of
you
too.
blend. Oh yeah, you blend.
So good. I love it. Most memorable show to date for the Roni Lee group. You know, what comes to mind?
Gosh, there's been so many. Well, the Van Halen show. I mean, as far as memorable.
That was with
it just depends on the
Venus,
memory,
right? Or was that you?
Oh yeah, that was
obviously.
Venus. You're
But
right.
You have so much.
That's really really hard. Playing with. Okay, here's one. Devo. I did a show with Devo.
No shit.
Telling
Very
you,
cool.
playing with those guys.
Wow.
That was
was
crazy.
that, within the last 10 years?
No, I was probably in the 80s.
Yeah, they were definitely. They're Whip It, right?
Because,
Yeah, okay.
And the thing about, I mean, I have memorable shows now, but shows now just aren't like they were because shows back then were huge and large capacity venues. So obviously, and then with these bands, it's just, I mean, playing with Devo will cry if you put your amps over here. You know, like they're gonna what? They're gonna cry?
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
that was the saying. They will cry.
Were they wearing their hats?
Oh,
and
they
everything?
were just
Didn't
back
they have
in
like
those,
the red funny hats?
Yeah,
that
they
they'd
had
always
the
rock?
thing, and they had the whole stage covered in plastic because they were going to spill stuff. It was a show that they did too, and
Right on.
so I'm spinning around on 6-inch platforms, just about falling on my ass because I'm walking on
the
plastic.
plastic.
You know, I'm
Wow,
like, what the fuck is that?
crazy.
In fact, I did a little spin, and my manager saw me from the end. He goes, "I don't understand how you stayed upright." Because we were the only band that didn't get booed off on the tour. Everybody else got booed off.
Wow.
Which was a big deal.
Did
for
you tour
Devo.
with them, or was it just?
Yeah, short one. Yeah, the Northwest.
Wow, very cool.
So,
I wonder if there's video of that on YouTube.
You know,
Available.
every now and then I run into stuff.
I wanna see you
and
spinning on a plastic stage.
I would
That'd
love
be
it. I wish
rad.
that was on. See, that was.
I'll check it out, and if I find it, I'll send it to you.
If you can find that, you win. You win.
I win.
Yeah.
What's the worst mishap at a show that you can think of? I know there's probably been a lot, technical crap and amps.
Oh my gosh. Well, a lot of them you don't see, I've turned around. I've hired various people on stage, and one time I turned around and I said, "Pick a fucking beat and stick to it." And one guy, I screamed at him, "End the goddamn song, would you?" Because I'm give every cue in the book.
To the drummer,
yeah,
you would?
It's always a drummer thing. I have
Damn
a joke.
drummers.
I have a joke. I should get my drummers jerseys because I literally, and I've played with I've played with Kenny Aronoff. He was on my last 2 albums.
Wow.
I've played with some of the most phenomenal drummers. And here in town, right now, Rhythm Turner is my drummer.
Rhythm
and
Turner.
that girl can drum. I mean, I
very
was,
cool.
I knew she could sing, and I wasn't, she just has a great feel,
That's
know.
rad.
So,
That's very cool.
But I did fall off a stage once, and I took a couple people with me. So
Did you?
Oh yeah.
A couple musicians?
Yeah,
Or
I took the
was
guitar
alcohol
player.
involved?
Oh,
Or no, maybe
well,
not
it's
so
probably
much.
more like my platforms,
Yeah,
because,
right.
and I'm surprised I haven't fallen off more, but I did a dive.
Oh, my
and then
gosh,
this story
yeah.
was good. Do you know who Loverboy is? Turn me loose.
Yeah,
Okay, so the
totally,
drummer
yeah.
Matt is a friend of mine, and he used to drink heavily in the '80s. So he was jamming with us. This is actually probably one of my favorite stage moments. And we're playing "Turn Me Loose." He's playing it with us, with our band, because we're playing up in Vancouver. Again, huge venue, probably 1,000 people there, and the stages back then were very high, probably like at least 6-foot stages. For some reason, they just used to be bigger. I don't know.
They've
Everything
gotten
was
smaller for some
everything was
reason.
bigger then, right?
Right,
According
totally.
to our vision and our perspective.
Yeah.
And so we're playing and we're rocking out, and all of a sudden, no drums. I'm like, what the hell? So I turn around and he's gone.
What the hell?
He was so drunk he fell off the entire stage.
Yes.
And he just fell on the ground.
Nice.
And I see him and he climbs. Good thing about alcohol,
back
it
up.
makes you very bouncy. So he climbed back up on stage, got back up on his throne, and we finished.
Oh my God!
I-
the movie Rockstar comes to mind.
Oh my God! It
When
was
he comes out
hysterical.
and
We
falls
all
off
just
stage.
like because it's dark out there when there's no stage
Yeah,
light.
yeah.
And there he was laying on the ground.
Dave Grohl likes to do that. Fall off stage. I'm seeing
Love
video.
him.
Yeah, he's rad. Have you met him?
No, I haven't. He's again, the '90s guys. But I tell you what,
True, yeah.
I've watched a lot of his mentor. His just his opinions, and
He seemed to be a cool guy and just good
He
advice.
said to
and down
somebody,
earth.
he's like, they're like, what's his success? He goes, just fucking be good.
Right.
Just
Totally.
Just put your head down and learn your shit and be good.
Which I think was your advice on the last
Exactly.
episode, right? Just
and
shut
I think
up
I
and play.
brought him up. Shut up and play. Stop defending being a girl or whatever you are or whatever it is you do and making excuses. I hate excuses.
Yeah.
They're my least favorite thing. So, if you can, being good solves a world of problems.
Yeah, it helps. It certainly does. I think you said something like, if you've been playing for a long time and people aren't showing up to your shows, maybe you should think about something else.
I did. I was talking to Francesca
Maybe
about
write
that.
or something,
There's
yeah.
a lot of things to do in the music industry. Not all of them are performance. A lot of writers think they must perform their songs, and that's just not true. Joan Jett did not write "I Love Rock and Roll."
She didn't,
No,
huh?
she did not. I forget the guys' names; they're so unmemorable.
Right.
I can never remember them, and I've tried to commit it to memory many times. I still haven't been able to do it because they're me. I don't know who they are. So, she didn't write obviously Crimson and Clover. That was Tommy James and the Shondells. So,
right.
she is the obviously the spokesperson and the face of female rock, but she's really not. She's not a phenomenal singer. She's not a phenomenal songwriter. She's not a guitarist.
Right.
But she puts it all together, and she is the face of female rock. It's so because she's a performer,
Right.
and she has that talent. And so
Has
I
some
just tell
smarts
people,
too, huh? Maybe a little business savvy.
Oh yeah, well
And-
she was that girl. I've seen very few super driven people in my life, and she's one of them.
Yeah.
She knew what she was going to be
Awesome.
when she was 15 years old. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
She wasn't going to accept any other answer.
Right.
And so she got what she wanted.
Yeah, very cool. What's a dream venue you'd like to play?
I'd like to play the Belly Up one day.
Nice. I'm going to go there Friday to check out Aviator Stash. Yeah. You haven't played the Belly Up?
We talked about that before. I love, and it's so funny because I just got offered a show there tomorrow and I had to turn it down. But it's funny because I use the Belly Up as an example. I'm like, if more people would do things like they do,
right.
Always having good music, really careful about what they've got going on. I just haven't been able to put a show together there yet. It just hasn't worked out.
Right.
It's funny. It's
sure.
Nothing for it or against it. It's just it's just one of those ones I haven't done. But my favorite venue. Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite.
There's so many. I mean, I'd love to play Petco Park, Reaching High.
Oh yeah, well, any stadium.
Yeah, any stadium would be rad.
Sleepland, mattress, go to bed stadium. What's it called
Down
now?
south, Sleepland. Oh my God, that's such the rock star name, huh? Sleep Train or
Sleep
some
Train.
Shit. Yeah, it's all about the sponsors nowadays.
To me, it's like I don't even want to play there because it sounds weird.
Qualcomm Stadium. It's like yeah. It's all about the money.
Anything ending in stadium, I think, is my favorite venue.
Yeah.
But it also has to have a lot of people in it because, like I said. It's not the where, it's the people and the experience. I would rather play a packed bar than a half-filled stadium.
Really?
You know, where you're echoing and there's few people milling about. I mean, what a hideous experience that would be. So
I agree with that.
As long as they're having fun. I mean, I've played at the Whiskey when it was jammed to the walls, and that Whiskey's a small place.
That's so rad,
so I've played Viper Room's even smaller. I don't know if you've been to the Viper Room across the street, but that place is like.
Yeah.
You get 12 people in there and it's full. So I love that.
Doesn't Johnny Depp own that place, or
not anymore?
Not anymore. River Phoenix died out in front of there, right?
Yeah. It used to, and it's been a few different bars. When I was hanging on the strip, it was called Filthy McNasty's.
Really?
Yeah, it was owned by a guy named Filthy McNasty. So it was a lot of funk bands and stuff back there.
His mom hates him. No, Filthy McNasty.
I have a feeling
name,
it's a possibility he wasn't born with that name. Yeah. However, you never know in Hollywood. In Hollywood,
exactly. Yeah,
it could happen.
What's the first album you ever bought?
Oh, the Grand Funk Railroad album.
Is that George Clinton? No. Who am I thinking?
No, you're thinking. No, these guys are way back in
Grand Funk Railroad,
mid 70s. I don't even know who played. They were old guys when I bought it.
Okay.
But that was the first album I ever bought.
Was it? Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Local band shout out. Who locally do you love? We probably have to mention Jules Band.
Of course, Fair Play. Fair Play is, and actually, even though I'm biased towards Jules, it's a really fun band to watch, and they have a lot of energy, and they're super great. One of my favorite artists in San Diego, and always has been Eve Sellis. I love Eve Sellis. She's completely different genre, sort of a country Americana. But she puts on a great show, and cool. I love watching her. It's hard to leave your family tree, find your way out in the sky. I don't know. Like, what's yours?
Oh, that's tough. I'm really into Aviator Stash right now.
Are you?
They're more indie rock, but they're just really talented guys. They've been under the Palapa here. You took your shot before I took my shot. I never heard your glass go. But I have so many friends in bands.
I
know,
that
tough. Comes to mind right now. Aviator Stash. I'm gonna go check them out this Friday at Belly Up. Tavern. They're doing a lot of big things locally. They have a very global sound too.
I'll be back in town Friday, and I'll be
recommend it.
In the hood. So maybe that'll be
in the hood.
I'll be in that hood because I'll be up in that area. So on Friday, so maybe I'll stop in.
Yeah, stop in. Belly Up's cool.
I do. I love the Belly Up.
I'll be honest. As a local guy in a punk rock band, I reached out to Belly Up Tavern, and basically, long story short, they said that we need to bring 300 people or more to book Belly Up, and I just don't think we're there yet. I don't see them as a big punk rock venue.
Casbah is a great venue.
Yeah.
I love the Casbah. I've played there a few times.
So many great venues around. Yeah, Casbah, the Moreau, the Soda Bar, the Tower Bar.
Yeah, it goes on. I mean, there's actually more punk bars than there are anything else because punk's kind of having a resurgence, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, that's the thing too. And I tell people this all the time. I go, man, you really need to play you need to play in front of the right demographic. And I tell people all the time, if you're a really great metal band and you're playing at a punk bar, you still might be a really great metal band, but you're playing for the wrong people.
Right.
And
Totally.
so I try to only take gigs where my band fits where I'm playing, who I'm playing for, and where I'm playing.
Yeah.
You know, I just think taking just any gig anywhere isn't a good idea for any bands.
Okay.
And I think it can really crush a band that might have a lot of potential because they don't understand. Like when I said before, you shouldn't, if you don't have a following, there's something wrong. Well, if you're playing for the wrong people,
Right.
there might not be anything wrong, but you're playing for the wrong people.
Right.
You know, and you're playing the wrong places, and you might have to get off your ass and go somewhere.
Yeah.
Get in a van.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't want to do that.
Get out of town.
Well, it's got to be within 20 miles of where I live because fill in the blank. You know, well, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need to leave.
Yeah.
Or go somewhere. I don't mean leave for good, but sometimes you need to be on the road.
Yeah.
And go to where the people, you know, go see if you do have a
branch out.
following. Yeah, branch
Yeah.
out.
It's a big world. I think traveling helps you kind of, and haven't traveled nearly as much as I'd like to, but
Once you travel,
getting out and like seeing the world, it's like, oh my goodness.
it changes your
Wow.
whole perspective.
It really does.
It really does. You start to go, wow, I have a whole bunch of friends and musicians in Germany now because I've played there so many times and whole different world. France. I got
Yeah.
friends that play. I was in France. I was not in France. I was next to France. I was literally sitting with a good friend of ours from France when the bombing happened was it 15 in November?
Oh yeah.
November 14th.
Yeah.
And when some, you know, people that I knew died in that bombing.
Oh, wow.
So it was,
Sorry to
we
hear
were
that.
close, you know, that because France and Germany are right next to each other.
Right.
And this girl, artist from Paris, we were having dinner that night when it all happened.
Wow.
And I was sitting in Dusseldorf at the time, which is, you know, right next door practically. So,
Wow.
you know, and it's just this little world.
Right.
And then I come back, I fly home thinking, well, I'm going to leave that. And then I fly home and
all
the
over.
shooting happens in San Bernardino. And I fly home and I'm like, it's all around, no
Yeah.
matter where you go. You
Yeah.
know? So, but yeah,
It's a small
it changes your perspective because people are people wherever you go.
Get out of town. I know there's a lot of locals that are doing that, including Fairplay.
Yep.
Fairplay is doing a tour with Brain Ghosts. The Rough is doing a tour with
That's
Fishing
right.
for Chips.
Yep.
Nights Like Thieves is on the road, so shout out to some locals. I think there's a lot of people that want to get out of town and know that they have to get out of town,
And
which
there's
is
nothing, you know, it's great to come
I
back
think
and
you kind of have to if you want to be a non-local band. You know, speaking for myself, I'm cool
Yeah.
with just being local. I think there's a lot
Yeah.
of people here in San Diego that haven't heard us. I think there's 3 million people in this city, right?
right.
And I'm older, you know, so I'm cool with just playing local. But I think everything you're saying is right on.
Well, you got a young
obviously.
family. You got a lot of things. You know,
Right.
I did the same thing at your age with my family. I did the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
I played locally. You would not have heard of the bands I was in because we just played clubs, and I played with my husband's band. But I was mostly a mom. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the Runaways movie came out in 2009, it sparked a resurgence of a lot of that music, and I got some requests to play, and it actually was my prompt to get back out there and do more of a global thing. And since then, I've recorded 3 more albums, and you know, done a lot of projects. I've sang on this the TV show Defiance, and which is the sci-fi show. I've I've been on. My music has been on lots of TV shows, actually.
Yeah.
So that's
Very
one
cool.
thing about writing and learning about the music industry and licensing. And I have Roni Lee's Rock Tips that Catherine Beeks started a long time ago, and I still have them on SoundCloud. If anybody ever wants to check that out, that's also, I think, linked to my website.
It is.
But I talk a lot about the music industry, how it works, and I give a lot of advice on Roni Lee's Rock Tips. They're real short. They're less than 3 minutes. And I talk about licensing, publishing, and being in bands, how to fire somebody, how, you know, all kinds of stuff. I mean, really, I talk about a lot of things about the music industry. So
That's awesome.
If you're curious about my
Right.
opinion, that's one place to get it.
Yeah, if you get one thing out of this episode, local bands, go to RoniLeeGroup.com and check out Roni Lee's tips.
Yeah, Roni Lee's Rock Tips.
Rock
and
Tips.
Then,
I'm going to check that out.
I do.
I want to learn how to fire people. No.
Yeah, I do
I've done
kind of
that.
have you know, it happens. You got to do it sometimes.
It does.
And I talk about why, you know, promoting a band, promoting gigs. I talk about a lot of all kinds of different things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. We're going to dream, all right? For
Let's
our final
dream.
segment, dream. Insert dream music now. That's the music I play. Yep. Have you listened to the podcast at all? No? Whatever.
Don't know what here's the thing.
It's all good.
I'm just starting to understand podcasts in general.
I'll send you the link, obviously.
Would you? Because
of course,
my daughter is a podcast junkie.
Okay.
And she's teaching me how to listen. So I'm
Spotify. We're on Spotify.
Yes.
You listen to Spotify, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm getting better at it, but I'm afraid that some of me is still stuck in a little bit of the old school.
Totally.
And
I
it's
get
so
that.
funny because I still sell CDs. Of course, all my music's available and everything besides that. But it's so funny because I had a little girl the other day. She goes, "I don't have a CD player," and I go, "I know, hon. So just take it and put your drink on it, and then you can use
take it anyways
to
and shut up.
to access my website, which will take you to all the links for the digital downloads."
Yeah.
But so I use them more promotionally. But I'm definitely going to add you because my daughter was just showing me how to do that. Add you to my podcast. Thing.
Oh, very cool.
Yes,
Thank
because
you.
it's really fun to start listening. I've been starting here and there just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
cool.
when you're flying and stuff, what are you going to,
It passes the time, yeah. And
Really
we're going to
does.
have bands like Fair Play and Schizophonics. I'm going to have Tim
those guys.
Piles on here.
Timmy,
I may even have Chris Cantori on here. I had Unwritten Law on. I may have Sprum Monkey on.
Oh, fun.
So some bigger dudes around
Yeah.
town, as well as locals, which is really the reason I'm doing this, is
Of
to get
course.
exposure. And if people like you share it, it'll get more followers, and
I
not for
will.
personal gain at all. It's really just so more people see these
it's
locals.
just like my record label. I feel like you're
Right.
doing that sort of a thing. Like I've never made any money on the record label. The record label is really to sort of spread the news kind of a thing, and
Rad.
and also gives people a vehicle. I've already done all the work and set everything up for myself, including my distributors, which is through Sony, the whole different thing. But so
that's a big company.
yeah, and I can help. I can't. Beginning artists typically wouldn't go through that distribution model, but there would be different things. But I just do it because it sort of elevates the whole musical trip that I'm on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I will definitely do it. Do me
Come
a
on,
favor.
Ronnie.
Send me something in an old school email that shows me how to do it, and I'll do it for you. I promise.
Okay.
I do want to share
I'm going to
it.
send the link to this episode, obviously.
Of course,
so
yes.
then you'll be able to follow.
But I want to be able to follow do the whole.
All of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot. No, I appreciate that. We're going to dream.
Okay.
All right? So,
I thought that was the dream. Okay, now we're.
Well, yeah.
Now we're.
I
having another
introed it,
dream.
and then we did a side tangent.
Oh, that happened.
I think you and I are both a little.
Oh my gosh,
little
ADD
sometimes. It's
What?
all good.
Hey, nice lemons. Okay.
Nice lemons. We just had an Easter egg
Lemon
hunt back
tree.
here. I hit 100 eggs. How was your Easter?
Oh my gosh.
See, ADD.
Oh, it was
Dude,
awesome.
holy
I
cow.
went to Little Italy, spent the whole day being
Right on.
Italian. It was great.
Right on. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
That
yeah,
sounds
yeah.
great.
Saluntos.
Saluntos down in Little Italy.
Oh,
Beautiful
yeah.
area.
Beautiful.
So dreaming. Yeah. I like this episode a lot better than the one that was botched. So
Oh,
I'm
good.
happy.
Awesome.
I'm
yeah,
happy
yeah,
I
yeah.
botched
Yeah,
it.
this was fun.
If you could tour with any current band that you haven't.
Aerosmith.
Okay, good answer. I love him.
Not even a question.
Yeah, Steven Tyler.
Oh my
best
gosh.
rock vocals
I just
of all
want
time.
to just
I want to say.
sit next to him and
Just have him
hang
sing to you.
out and have him sing to me.
If you could bring a musician back from the dead, who would you pick? We get the 27 Club often, we get the people that died
Amy
young.
Winehouse.
There you go.
I think I
Yeah,
would bring
she was
Amy
in the
back.
27 Club, huh?
Yeah.
Died way too young.
Yeah, very, very much.
3 bands to headline your ultimate dream festival. Who would you choose? Dead or alive? 3 bands up on stage.
The Doors. Oh my gosh, I would just love to see the Doors play. Can you imagine?
Did you ever see them?
No.
Yeah.
I
They played at Whiskey a lot. They started at the
They
Whiskey,
did.
right?
They were just not in my time period, unfortunately.
More
So they were somebody
60s,
before
yeah.
my time, thank God.
Right.
So the Doors.
Okay.
The original Heart.
Okay.
I love the original Heart with all
Okay.
the original guys, not the current one.
yeah.
Sorry.
Current Heart sucks. Okay.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So did I get one more?
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough because there's like
I know
5
it
more
is
in my
tough.
head. So I'm gonna have to again say Aerosmith because
There you go.
my gosh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that bill?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you could.
I would even boot Hard Out. But they just are one of my favorite bands from the original, and because I know them all from Seattle and
Heart,
stuff. Yeah,
right
the
on.
original guys.
Yeah.
I've played in bands with the original guys, Mike Droscher and Steve Fossen, and
very cool.
And of course, Roger Fisher is a good friend of mine up in Seattle, and the other guitar player, Howard Leese, plays in Vegas all the time, and he also plays with Bad Company.
I was going to mention that you play with a couple of Paul Rogers' former players, right?
Bad Company too.
Bad Company.
Lynn Sorensen, my co-writer and other bassists that I use.
Right.
I've played with him for years. In fact, we have shows coming up next month, and if you check out RoniLeeGroup.com/tour, we'll be in Seattle doing some stuff. And Lynn Sorensen, he's amazing. He has his own website, lynnsorensen.com. He's in the band Heaven and Earth. He's in Bad Company, Paul Rogers.
Wow.
He's an amazing, gifted man.
You know a few people.
Yes, I know a few.
You've done this for a few years.
And yes, I have their phone numbers. No.
Yes. Shoot them out. No.
I don't. Yeah, it's so funny. Can you just call Joan? I guess. But
Can
for
you call
what?
her? Can you call her right now?
No.
Fuck you. Oh.
No.
If you could wave a magic wand and make one band never exist, who would you choose?
Well,
is there anyone, or maybe a genre that you hear?
I never really was a big ABBA fan, and I know that's probably typical. They probably got a lot of response to them, but I don't know.
Insert
that
Dancing
whole,
Queen now.
Yeah, that whole thing
the
is
70s pop. Kind of.
70s pop.
Okay.
You were a
punk rocker in the 70s.
I could just do without that.
I get that. Yeah.
Disco kind of killed us too.
Yeah. Not Bee Gees? You like the Bee Gees?
Well, I don't know if I'm not a huge fan.
Okay. Last question.
I wouldn't get rid of them though. I'd get rid of ABBA first.
Yeah, I like the Bee Gees sound.
I like the Bee Gees
It's just really
sound.
unique. You know?
Yeah. There's definitely, Car Wash. I mean, who doesn't like that song?
Right. There's some 70s disco
There's
that you like.
There's a few, I did a few shots of something in a couple lines with you.
That's another episode,
back
folks.
in the day, kids. Yeah. Way back in the day.
Yeah. Last question for you, Roni.
Yes.
Where would you like to be in 5 years with you as a musician and everything you got going on?
Well, I just love touring. I really do love touring, and I'd like to, like some of those bands that we talked about. The problem with touring with those bands is now you have to pay. Yeah. So I think in lieu of that, these videos that we're doing and that kind of thing. And these days I'm doing a song and a video. It's all about the different songs. So right now I just finished a Bruno Mars tune. Actually,
right.
And so we just recorded that, and we're getting ready to shoot the music video for that. So
awesome.
So I just like to go out. I like to tour a little bit, but I'm enjoying my kids too. Right. So I can't. I really like what I'm doing now, so hopefully I keep doing it.
That's great to hear. No, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'd like to make a little more money at it. Actually, a lot more money.
Millions would be good. Always.
Hundreds of thousands. I'm not greedy.
Yeah. Roni Lee, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Really
Troy.
appreciate you coming back.
Beautiful home and family you have too.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to the new Kitty Gibson.
Yeah, yes. I got a new kitten, Gibson. Yeah. We're slowly introducing him to Fender. They're natural rivals.
They are.
I think they know that they should go against each other, I
told you should get a PRS now.
A PRS and an Ibanez.
And an Epi. I like the idea of a little Epi.
Yeah, we do have a Marshall. We have a chameleon named Marshall.
Perfect. Yes. Okay, there you go.
But dude, thanks a lot for coming back.
Thank you.
You're a very cool person, and you have a great name around town. Everyone I talk to about you is like, oh my God, she's so sweet and so cool. And I agree 100%.
Thank you so much. Well, hey, keep rocking. I'll definitely catch one of your shows too. I love seeing some. Hit me up. Let me know.
Thank you. June 9th is our next show. Okay. We're playing with the Ataris, a punk rock band kind of from the 90s, and it should be fun.
I remember. I know those guys.
They did the Boys of Summer remake.
Mm-hmm.
So we got on that show, and then we have a
awesome.
couple other things going on. We're going to be on KUSI this Friday. The morning thing.
I know
and
that.
Shout out to
Yeah,
local
yeah.
bands. They are having local music on KUSI every Friday morning. So
I saw that actually. So
Yeah, I
that's
will
good for them. They've
yeah.
always been really good about that. It's my favorite news channel, actually.
KUSI.
KUSI.
KUSI. We're hitting that 65 plus demographic, the retired at home.
The guys that are sitting there going, "God, I wish I was doing that." But,
Yeah.
oh, my back hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to. Here's a picture of me when I was in a punk rock band in
Yeah.
1983. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I
Well,
know.
cool. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And we're going to play I Want to Be Where the Boys Are, your previously
Yes.
recorded
Thank you.
track now. So cool. Roni Lee, RoniLeeGroup.com.
Thank you.
Right on.
See you next time.
See ya.
Wild on the street, barely alive. Mama's always telling me to stay inside. Said don't hang around with those young boys. Too soon they'll be loving you, those all night boys. I wanna be where the boys are.
All right, we have come to the live portion. We're live with Roni Lee. She's got her PRS and a little rolling micro cube back here. Let's do it. What are you going to rock?
I'm going to play a little I Want to Be Where the Boys Are
yeah.
since we talked about that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, let's do it.
But while on the street, barely alive, Mama's always telling me, stay inside. Well, I'm with those young boys. Soon they'll be loving you with all their toys. I wanna be where the boys are. I wanna fight how the boys fight. I wanna love how the boys love. I wanna be where the boys are. Those boys. Hot in the heat. I got the drive. My neighbors are watching me. I better hide. Well, I'm a bitch with a hot guitar. And I'm the LA Sonic Star. I wanna be where the boys are. I wanna fight how the boys fight. I wanna love how the boys love. I wanna be where the boys are. Now you are my toy. I'm lightening up you, boy. Playing all your noise. I love you, crazy boy. I said I wanna be where the boys are. I wanna fight how the boys fight. Yeah. I wanna love how the boys love. I wanna be where the boys are. Yeah.
Fucking shredding. That little rolling micro cube. Oh my gosh. Let's hear it.
There you go.
Crank it.
Yeah.
Wake those neighbors up.
Oh, man. Time
Dude.
to get up.
Yeah.
Chickens.
You're heading up to LA, so we're going to let you go.
Yes,
Roni
I'm
Lee,
rolling.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're
It was
amazing.
really,
You're a
really
legend.
fun.
You're a rock star.
Thanks.
Yeah, truly. Keep up the great work, and best to you and your family.
Thank you. And you too.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful family, nice
Little
home.
lyric. Thank you so much.
Lovely, lovely being here. Thank you.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're out.
Your legend never dies. See the fire in your eyes. It burns the music in my soul. Your story to be told. It's what we heard on the radio. Everybody wanted to take you home. My hero. You rock my soul.
1, 2, 3, 4. Palapalooza, Palapalooza. We're talking to you. I'm Palapalooza.